60 Minutes, Rewind.
It may have escaped your notice, but recently a vacuum cleaner just like this one and the one down in your basement was sold for $100,000. Also, a sink went for $121,000 and a pair of urinals for $140,000. All of the above and even more unlikely stuff is art. That's what the artists say, the dealers, and of course, the people who lay out good money. It all may make you believe in the wisdom of P.T. Barnum that there's a sucker born every minute. The Noble Auction House of Sotheby's in New York last November. The long-anticipated winter sale of contemporary art. And here it is, folks.
Lot 242, the Gerhard Richter. Please note that the measurements for this work are reversed. It's actually a horizontal painting. I'm sorry, it's actually a vertical painting. 78 by 59 inches. And we start here at $50,000 this bid for this. And now we start here at $10,000 this bid for this. Now at $10,000 now.
1,800,000. Down it goes then at 1,800,009. At 1,000,009. I have 1,900,000. Now say 2 million.
This one, a canvas of scrawls done with the wrong end of a paintbrush, bears the imaginative title of Untitled. It's by Cy Twombly and was sold for $2,145,000. And that's dollars, not Twombly's.
And $20,000 to start this now at $20,000.
There were bargains. Rat, repeated 3 times, reached $30,000.
Sold at $30,000, yours, sir?
And green grass, the words, not the plant, went for $13,000.
Sold.
And $750,000 for it. I have.
The auction itself was a glittering affair. A bank of phones connected Paris, Geneva, Frankfurt, and London. Among the hottest items,
lot number 72. This is sold from the catalog.
Jeff Koons' inspired work, 3 basketballs submerged in a fish tank.
Sold at
$150,000, giving new meaning to slam dunk.
Wow, Dr. J.
And back in his New York studio, Jeff Koons has more where that came from, and a slightly shaky version of what it all means.
This is an ultimate state of being. I wanted to play with people's desires, that they desired disequilibrium, they desired pre-birth, or I was...
What did he say? The language is art speak, the same pitch that convinced the emperor to buy new clothes or waterlogged basketballs.
I was giving a definition of life and death. This is the eternal. This is what life is like also after death, aspects of the eternal.
Jeff Koons is a genuine phenomenon. Still in his 30s, he's become a millionaire since he moved from commodity brokering on Wall Street to art mongering to the world. He doesn't actually paint or sculpt. He commissions craftsmen to do that. Or he goes shopping for basketballs and vacuum cleaners. What makes them art, Jeff?
I always like the anthropomorphic quality. They're like lungs.
So this object now is just free to eternally just to display its newness, its integrity of birth.
So what do you say to the man who said, "Fool, you hadn't paid $100,000. I just got a genuine Koons for $80.
This work would be a signed work by myself, or would have a letter of authenticity.
He's already had a retrospective at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art.
Do you think he's making fun of everyone? Do you think he's making fun of the art world? No.
No, he's making his money off the art world.
I'm not saying to bring these closer. I'm saying we need here, and we still don't have this.
We need it up.
We need out.
For his pièce de résistance last year, he hired platoons of German workmen to erect a 40-foot puppy made of flowers, and the art world cheered.
It's very much about something extremely banal made into something terrifically heroic and important. And so it kind of bespeaks of our own sense of ego at certain moments in our life.
Of course, most of this art of the 90s would be worthless junk without the hype of the dealers, and even more important, the approval of the critics. They write in language that, to this viewer anyway, sounds important, but might as well be in Sanskrit. Of the American artist Julian Schnabel, a critic wrote,
"His is an eschatological art appropriating the master meanings of life and the master languages of art to reassert the sense of hurt, and loss that evades both.
A book on Christopher Wool, the Rat, Rat, Rat Man, said of his work,
"They communicate not like facile appropriations, but as a honed perfectionist idea of that discourse reduced to the irreducible, then starting all over again."
Arts magazine said of Robert Gober, who specializes in arms, legs, sinks, and urinals,
"Installations function as utopian and dystopian spaces. The tableau arrests, and its own stillness suspends social time."
And if you're still stumped, let Jeffrey Deitch, critic, dealer, and fan, explain.
This work in particular shows something of the uncertainty in which artists find themselves today in the human sphere. They don't quite know exactly where they stand.
So simple when you think about it. As simple as one of Mr. Gober's urinals. A major New York art collector, Elaine Danheiser, has 3, all in a row.
They look like urinals, but they really aren't.
Well, I know, because there's no plumbing attached
Yes.
to them. But beyond that, does it comment on society in some way, do you think?
I think it comments on things that we take for granted and that we really don't see. That is Robert Ryman.
And that is, it's a white rectangle.
Right. And Ryman has reduced painting to its very essence. And a lot of people don't understand that, but...
I confess I'm among them on this one.
Well, some of his work has a little more texture in it. This one is a little flatter because he really has reduced it. He's a minimal artist, and...
I would say so. Now this intrigues me.
Yes, this is a young artist by the name of Felix Gonzalez-Torres.
May I touch it?
You can, as a matter of fact, you're allowed, they're candies, they're Italian candies, and one is allowed to take them.
But one would reduce the value of the painting.
Well, then you just replace them.
I see.
Yes.
In my observation...
Art critic Hilton Kramer says the people who buy this stuff are victims of a trashy hoax.
Just the act of spending that money on an object makes them feel that they are collaborating in creating the art history of their time.
But is it also a case of the emperor's clothes?
Oh, it's largely a case of the emperor's clothes, but they don't see it that way.
When I look at almost all contemporary art, I see nothing. Nothing.
Brian Sewell, a London critic, is appalled. No other word for it. Imagine the outrage of a man steeped in the work of the masters when he witnessed, at an auction, the sale of a can of excrement, the work and waste of the artist Piero Manzoni.
I suppose you could argue that he was making, as it were, a symbolic statement that all contemporary art is feces.
There was a painting, if that's the word, at the Sotheby's sale by a man named Wool, Chris Wool, I think. And it was the word rat, repeated 3 times. Art?
Oh, I think you were lucky to have the word. And you might just have had a blank canvas. That's pretty commonplace now.
It's a standard assumption in the art world today that a work of art is anything an artist says it is. And an artist is somebody who calls himself an artist, and there are no other tests.
I don't understand it one scrap. I don't understand it at all. Well, let's go on.
Well, we don't belong to this generation. We must retire.
The dealers lust after the hypeable, and a few years ago they struck pure gold when Jean-Michel Basquiat came on the scene. His work, giant, childishly wrought graffiti, sent the art world into spasm. Jean-Michel was heaven sent for hype. The story was that this poor black kid was discovered on the street by Andy Warhol. The fact was, he came from an upper-middle-class suburban family and had a keen eye for the marketplace. But the legend stuck, and his work started selling for as much as $250,000 per graffito. Then, in 1988, when his popularity was declining, his career was saved. He died of a drug overdose, and now that there would be no more Basquiats, the market fell in love with him all over again. He was officially declared genius last fall when the Whitney Museum in New York honored him with a retrospective. You think you could do as well?
Yeah.
You think you could do that?
Yeah, I could do better than that.
You could?
Yeah.
But that looks like what? Some eggs? Eggs? Could you draw a better egg than that?
Yeah. I could draw even.
It was packed with people, and it resounded with art speak.
So it has this multiplicity of potential meanings. Doesn't mean any one of them. It may not mean a thing, but
Could not have said it better myself.
At $170,000. You sure now? 170. 170.
The hammer's down on the last lot. The end of a successful evening.
Yes, we were extremely pleased with the sale.
Total sales, $20,264,750. And until the checks come in, the treasures wait in Sotheby's storeroom. It is, in a way, a little like your basement. The bits and pieces of a lifetime. Is that ladder for climbing, or is it for appreciating? And that faucet, we all have one of those. It's surely a neglected bit of plumbing at Sotheby's. But no, it's a genuine Jan Dibbets, bid up to $7,500. A bargain or junk soon to be consigned to the trash heap of art history. Hilton Kramer is certain.
Many of these artists, as I well know, live in great dread of waking up one morning and finding that it's all disappeared. That somebody blew the whistle and they're no longer going to be considered important.
That all the vacuum cleaner does is pick up dirt.
All the vacuum cleaner does is pick up dirt, and with the day Koons' vacuum cleaner goes back to being a vacuum cleaner, then the curtain comes down.